Hey, what's up and welcome. I am Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer from South Africa. This is my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach coding and user interface design. First things first, guys, I'm happy and thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. In this channel, we had a target of reaching 200 subscribers this month, and guess what? We have made more than that. We are sitting at 210 subscribers. I could not have made it without you. Thank you so much for sharing and liking my content. Without wasting time, let's just jump straight to today's video. In this video, we are going to demystify and break down responsive design and layout. What we are going to do, we are going to take down all the buzzwords in the internet around responsiveness. Things like responsive layout, adaptive layout, fluid layout, and static layout. We are going to take that and sum it up into one simple concept that even a 3-year-old can understand. What we are aiming for, we are aiming for practicality and clarity. Okay, with that being said, let's just jump straight to a definition of this word pragmatism. Okay, let's just read here what it means. Okay, an approach that evaluates theories or beliefs in terms of the success of their practical application. Okay, so guys, I feel like in the web design industry there is a lot of terms that doesn't really give us a practical and a meaningful sense when you actually look at them. So in this video we are going to dive deep into those terms, and also I'm going to present to you my own concept around responsive design. Okay, this is a website of mine that I have designed. This is Figma, a prototyping online application. Okay, so this is some sort of a desktop version of it, and this is another screen, and this is another screen up to, okay, and this is a mobile screen for it. So as you can see, these are different layouts. So what I did, I decided to go on and use Next.js, React.js, and Tailwind CSS to code this design. As you can see, this design, here is it. Okay, and it also, some elements of it, they are responsive. So in this video I'm going to discuss in details about how I've made this, and also break down some concept in the industry that doesn't really some sort of, they are not meaningful and they are not practical. Okay, with that being said, let me just zoom out and zoom in this section. Okay, and zoom in this section. Guys, thank you so much. If you are new into this channel, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button. Also, I'm interested in knowing your own views about this concept. Okay, as you know that I have been a graphic designer for the most part of my life. Okay, so at some stage I decided to shift careers into front-end development. Okay, I've got a diploma in software development, so I was like, let me combine that and my graphic design skill, and let me sit somewhere in between, and that is front-end development. Okay, so in the industry today there is this concept about responsive layout. Okay, so there is this view of there are 3 different types of layout. Okay, so it's like in the olden days we were only relying on computers to display our HTML page. So meaning that we were creating static pages. Our pages were static and they were only for computer screen. But as time goes by, there rise a need for some sort of layouts or HTML pages that responds to different screens. As you know that first we were using computers, and then there were mobile phone, and there were tablets, and now it looks like mobile phone are taking over. So with that happening, then there rise a need for the layout to respond to the screens. Okay, so in the industry today, there are some, I can say 4 or 3 words or terms or concept that are very, very, very confusing, that I don't agree with. Hence, I created my own concept, which is the co-first principle. I will explain those in a minute, what they are. Okay, in the industry today, there is this responsive layout, adaptive layout, and fluid layout. Let's just get rid of the static layout for now, since I believe it's outdated. Okay, as we have mentioned that we evaluate theories and beliefs based on their practical application. Guys, this is how I feel about this concept. This word and this word and this one, they mean the same thing. Okay, obviously I'm going to explain briefly what they mean, but you can make your own research and try to understand the difference between responsive, adaptive, and fluid layout. You will realize it means the same thing. So these concepts are just buzzwords. I'm not sure why in the industry we are doing that. I still have yet to discover that, but these are just buzzwords that makes it responsive concept a little bit complex or a little bit misunderstood, because we've got too much content but less of a meaning. Okay, now let's just dive deep into describing a brief about what this means. Okay, as you have seen, as you have heard, that responsive design, it's more like coming up with a design that some sort of response to the screen. Okay, something like this. Let me just quickly show you. Observe what will happen to this section. Okay, as this layout becomes small. Okay, as you can see, it changes from being more of horizontal to be to be more of vertical, as you can see. Okay, so basically this is it. Okay, now in the industry we've got a responsive layout. Okay, let me just look for a website, maybe let's say Apple Store. Let me just say Apple Store, so that I can make some sort of a practical example. Okay, let's see what's going to come here. Okay, yes. Okay, and then let's inspect this. Okay, and then from then let's just decrease the screen and observe what will happen. As you can see, the navigation bar or the header has changed. As you can see, things are changing up until we reach a mobile view. Okay, up until we reach a mobile view. As you can see, in the mobile view we've got less icons and some sort of less things. Okay, as you can see, more of the things are pushed like to the bottom section of a page. Okay, so as you scroll up, as you can see, things are changing. Okay, things are changing. Let's see how they change. Let's move up a little bit. Okay, let's move this up a little bit. Okay, as you can see, things will change. Okay, as you can see, things are changing. Okay, so a responsive design, it's some sort of a design that responds to the view width, okay, to some sort of the browser width. So as it goes down, it some sort of changes accordingly. Okay, as it goes down, it changes accordingly. And then it is said that an adaptive design, it's a design, I think it's more or less like this one. Okay, it doesn't change instantaneously, meaning that it changes at certain few breakpoints. So we can take what can I say, we can take responsive design as a design that changes constantly, okay, or it changes more frequently than an adaptive design. In adaptive design, it will maybe take some sort of what can I say, let me say, where is product here? I think okay, let me just click even here and see. So A responsive design changes more frequently than an adaptive design. Okay, let's just make this width small and see what will happen. As you can see, it looks like this design wait for it travels a certain range of pixels before it changes. Okay, looking at this content, this is a lot of some sort of words or items. Seemingly this design was supposed to be responsive like instantly in a way, but as you can see, it looks like it takes some certain range of pixel waiting for a certain breakpoint. You see, as we travel, waiting for a certain breakpoint. Once it reaches that breakpoint, it will start to adapt. Okay, and then as we go, also as we go down, making it smaller, it will also wait for a certain breakpoint. I think here something happened. Okay, it will wait for a certain breakpoint until something happens. So its responsiveness is not instant. Okay, it's not instant. It's more like it's more like the developers have chosen some sort of 3 to 4 or a max of 6 breakpoints. So meaning that somewhere in between, I think it won't be responsive, or somewhere in between things might go wrong because it just chooses certain points, but it depends on the skill of the developer. That might be noticeable and that might not be noticeable. Okay, okay, so with that being said, that is an adaptive. Okay, that is an adaptive approach or an adaptive layout. Okay, and then in terms of a fluid layout, it's more like it responds like instantly. It's more like let's look at this, what will happen at this video here, because pictures or and videos, they always like more like they respond like instantly. Okay, okay, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. I want to see something on that video. Okay, I want to see something on that video. Okay, as you can see, this part, it's more like it's fluid, meaning that no matter how fast or how quick you travel, it will never break or seemingly be some sort of off the layout. Okay, so when we talk of a fluid uh, layout or fluid layout, okay, a fluid design, we are talking about something like this. Okay, it's more like let's say this word, as time goes, as you can see now, it has just disappeared. What if maybe it was scaling down at a certain percentage? As the screen goes down, that will be considered as a fluid layout. Okay, now let's get to the main essence. In my own approach and my own thinking and my own pragmatic way of doing things, I think responsive layout, it's more like garbage. Adaptive layout, it's more like garbage. Fluid layout, it's also more like garbage. What do I mean? This is all just responsive layout. These things are doing one and the same thing, but they are doing it in different ways. If you can see here, it's all about responding to the width of the screen. It doesn't matter if the response is instant or it responds at certain breakpoint in time, or maybe it responds according to the content, but it's just responsive. So us in the industry having these 3 different terms really it's more like it distorts the idea. For somebody who's new, who is a beginner, when they hear these words, I don't think they could understand the essence of responsiveness. Okay, so now what am I proposing? What am I bringing into the picture? It seems like to me there is an overarching concept above these responsive layout, adaptive layout, and fluid layout. It looks like they all conform to one thing. And what that one thing is, it's this term that I have called it co-first. So what is co-first? Co-first, it's a content first design. Okay, what do I mean by content first? Okay, The co-first approach states that content is key and content is king. What do I mean by that? This is rooted from my own graphic design experience. Before I design any poster or web layout or flyer or whatever marketing material or whatever design, I always ask the client to supply me with all the content. Why? Because my layout depends on the content. Okay? So I really don't understand these concepts of responsive and adaptive and fluid design or design layouts. I really don't understand them, because this is what I believe. Everything is rooted from the content. Okay, everything is controlled by the content. For instance, let's just put things into perspective. How many breakpoints am I supposed to have in this design? Well, another designer might say you can have some sort of 6 major standard breakpoint according to the adaptive layout design or the adaptive approach to things, since it is believed that if you are designing for a desktop, there is a certain standard range of desktop screen or some sort of a well-defined standard size of a desktop screen. And then when it comes to medium range of screen like tablet, there is a certain predefined dimensions of a screen. And when it comes to mobile, there is a certain, some sort of worldwide agreed upon certain type of a screen, which that's a problem, because in the market there is a lot of screens. There is a lot of screens. Some of them are more like horizontal and some of them are more like vertical. So the idea of selecting and picking up few screens and then you will design a layout that will only adapt to those screens, it will then mean when somebody has minimized their browser and they reach a certain breakpoint that you didn't target, then it will become a problem. That will mean it will become a problem. Your design is not going to be responsive in that particular range of pixels, of which it's a problem. So I discard adaptive approach to layout. Okay, I'm just trying to say every design and every layout, it needs to respond according to the content. Content is king and content is key. How many breakpoints am I supposed to have here? Only those that will bring the most or that will bring the best layout for this content. I cannot say I'm going to have 3 breakpoints here. What if those breakpoints, they don't bring the best layout? So as you can see, that what I'm trying to say or what I'm trying to raise into the industry is that content is key. Content is king. Okay, everything that we do, every design must conform to the content. If I am a client, I'm supplying you with a lot of content. As soon as a designer you are telling me that you are going to remove certain pieces, obviously I'm going to have a problem. So meaning that we start from the content. If I'm telling you on the desktop screen, this is the information that I need, it doesn't matter the layout principle, the responsive, the adaptive, or desktop first or mobile first. That content must be there because I, as the client, know very well why it must be there. So we cannot start to think about the layouts and the layout principle, adaptive, responsive, and even fluid, without understanding how much content do we have and how are we going to best represent the content given the different types of screens that we have. Okay, with that being said, let's just go to my little notes here so that we can go step by step on these notes. Okay, so I've coined a term called content first. So this co-first means content first, and I've just drafted some few principles which I call these the co-first principle. Okay, so now let's just start by these 3 items. Okay, content is key. That means everything that you're going to do, it depends on the content. So you can't jump to responsive, you can't jump to adaptive, you can't jump to fluid layout. Whatever layout that we are going to come up with, What will determine that layout is the amount of content. If you've got only one picture to display on the screen, whether it's a mobile or tablet or even a desktop, that's content. That's what you have to work with, meaning that your layout will depend on how many design elements that you have. Hence, I'm saying let's adopt a content first approach to responsiveness. Content determines everything. So hence I'm saying content is key and content is king. Let's say you are going to build a website for a client. Could you be able to continue and build the website of a client using all the buzzwords that are in the internet? How those buzzwords will help you, the responsive, the adaptive, and the fluid, even though in essence they mean the same thing. In the content first approach, I'm saying ignore these. This is just garbage. Understand that you need content in order for you to go. In order for you to come up with a layout, you must first get the content. Okay, whether you are going to do a desktop first or a mobile first, it doesn't matter. As long as there's no content, there's nothing you can do. It's more like content establishes the relationship between me and the client and me as a developer or a designer and the users. But if we don't have content, if we've got nothing to display, all the buzzwords that are in the industry today, development and design, they are just lame. They just disappear because there is no content. So content is key and content is king. Okay, so I've already touched based on these responsive and adaptive approaches, which I believe that they are not practical. It's just the same thing. Okay, so let's go to the actual core first principle. So what is content first approach? Suitable layout for the content at hand. So the only thing that we are trying to do here, okay, let's go back here. What I did here, I came up with the suitable layout for the content that I had for this. Okay, so meaning that for me, according to me and my own way of designing, this is the suitable layout for the content. So the layout is determined by the content. There is no way that I can predefine the layout without the content, okay, which is, to me, it's a problem to think too much without the content. So the content first approach, the one that I'm bringing into the industry, it's all about that. It's just suitable layout for the content at hand. That means you must look at what content do I have, and then you need to use your own skill, design or development skill to craft a layout for that content. Okay, then these are some sort of principle which, as time goes by, as I'm refining the concept, maybe they might change, I might add, and I might take off from them. But at the moment, these are some sort of the principle or core concept under content first approach. Okay, so number one, content is purpose. We've got an Apple store here. Okay, what's the purpose for this store? Once you get the content, you sit down with the client. Because of you've got the content at hand, you can establish a conversation between you and the client, and you ask them, what's the purpose of this? Then they will tell you, the purpose of this is to do 1, 2, 3. We want to sell product to a certain target of customers, and as a brand, this is what we do and this is how we do it. Okay, so meaning that content is purpose. Because of the content, you are able to some sort of get the purpose of the website or the purpose of the application because of this content. Once you get the content, you can be able to ask the client that, why do we have this? What are you trying to do? What do you want to achieve? So hence I have written here, the first principle states that content is purpose. It's important that you understand the purpose. What is the use of a very beautiful, responsive, adaptive, fluid, or desktop first or mobile first layout without the actual purpose from the client? Would you be happy when the client says, this is a beautiful layout, but it doesn't serve the purpose? Obviously, no. So everything that you hear in the industry today and the buzzwords about responsiveness. Ignore that and focus on the content so that you can get the purpose. The principle number 2 states that content is functionality. Now that we know the purpose, how is that going to function? Okay, let's just go down here just to see any form or some sort of okay, there's no form here. Okay, let's just make an example of these buttons. Okay, so when I click here, what I'm expecting to happen, then the client will tell you, okay, when you click here, this will take you to a screen where somebody can buy this item. Okay, so that's how it will function. Okay, so in that screen there will be a blue box that will appear with this message, and then when somebody scroll down, the image will be like this, and there will be add to bag. Okay, what is add to bag? Then when you click on add to bag, maybe it will take you to some sort of an e-commerce where, or a shopping cart, where you can add it to a shopping cart, where you can now change the quantity. How many do we want? Okay, let's say I want 4 of these, then this item is supposed to be updated automatically. So what that means, that is functionality. Okay, that is functionality. So meaning that content is functionality. Once you get content, you can be able to, it provides a platform for you to ask important and relevant questions to the customer. Okay, content is experience. Based on the content that you have, you can be able to craft an amazing user experience based on the content, because you've got the content at hand. And what you are going to do, you are going to find a layout that suits the content. Believe me, if this developer or the designer was given less content, this layout was not going to be like this. If there were fewer words, fewer phones, these things were not here, and almost these things were not there, this layout was going to be different. For instance, let's say we were selling only this item. Do you think this item was going to be this small if it was the only item that we sell? The answer is no. So do you see that the layout is bound to change according to the amount of content that you have, according to the amount of graphic design elements that you have. So in the industry, whether it's design or development, we cannot jump to the layouts and the responsive layout, the mobile first or desktop first, without first getting the content, because content is king. So with content, you can craft relevant and great user experience. Okay. Principle number 4, content is user focused. Whenever you have content, that means you can be more user focused. For instance, now that I have got this content, I need to ask my client, or I need to make a research. Who are the people who are most likely to buy these items? Remember, I'm designing, I'm coming up with the web layout and whatever. But now that there is content, I can feel like, I think these are AirPods. They will be used by people which are between 18 and 45, based on the content that I see. So once you have content, you are more user focused. You can be able to find some sort of do a little bit of research so that you can come up with a layout and design that will attract the correct or the desired target market. What will make that? It's the layout. So if you start with the buzzwords, the responsive layout and whatever, and all the graphic design principle maybe that you might come up with, and all the knowledge that you have from the internet and the design and development industry, you might come up with beautiful layout, but I'm not sure if the audience that you are designing for might like that layout. Why? Because you started with the buzzword without understanding, without getting the content first, and then crafting the ideal user from that content. If you are not crafting it from that content, you ask the customer, you ask the client, who are you targeting with this content? Based on what you have given me, who you are targeting. Maybe they will say, no, I'm targeting 120-year-old women, and then you can say, hey, this content really doesn't, it's not for the 120-year-old. However, let me see how am I going to present it in such a way that the 120-year-old might understand. So content is key, and content it's king. Okay, now let's continue. So number 5, the principle number 5 states that content is client oriented. Once you think about the content, you will be concerned about the client requirements. Okay, let's just take this for instance for a second, my own website or my own web layout. Okay, taking me as a client, it might be like I have asked the designer, I have supplied the designer with the content, and I have told him that this is what I want this page to be. Number 1, I want this to be a one page, meaning that there are no many pages, there is no navigation. Okay, this is what I want to be included there. I want my brand logo or brand identity, I want my email, okay, I want my name to be there, and I want some sort of who I am, okay, the designer and developer. I want my picture to be there, and also I want the logos of the frameworks, technologies, and whatever CSS, HTML, things that I do tutorials about. And then from then I'm interested in getting people who watch my videos to some sort of subscribe to the coded community. Okay, that's content. Okay, that means I am the client. So the designer, based on the content, they might have some sort of a conversation with me, trying to understand what am I trying to do. Obviously, I will explain to the designer that the most important elements here, first of all, it's the brand. Okay, because my YouTube is coded design. Okay, even though I'm the one who's behind it, but remember, as time goes by, I might not be the only one who's behind it. There might be people who might be doing YouTube tutorials on my behalf, or they might submit their own videos. So the most important thing is the brand and the contact details. That's why these things, they are at the top there. And also, secondly, let's say my name and what I do plus the picture. Okay, and also these are some sort of things that I think my audience are familiar with. People are familiar with all these logos, so they can identify with, and they can be able to pick up that these are, I do tutorials around these technologies. And then from then, this is a call to action. Once you think about content, you start to have a conversation with your client. But once you start to think about the responsive layout, let's say desktop first, or mobile first, or adaptive layout, or fluid layout, or responsive layout, I don't think you will really think about the client, because in your own mind, you are more like buzzword centric, or you are more like buzzword focused, which is, these are the buzzwords that I think I'm taking them down to say that for me, Matthew Singati. Also, I'm interested in hearing from you. What do you think? And also, where are you coming from? Or maybe you might have a different perspective to what I think. But what I'm trying to propose into the industry is that content is king. Hence, I came up with the co-first approach to responsive design and layout. Okay, meaning that content is king and content is key. So the layout, everything comes from the content. I cannot plan anything without the content. Let me make like one last example in closing. Let's say you are a house builder and a client comes to you with an important requirement for his house, and he tells you that what I want in my house, I want 2 sliding doors or 2 glass doors in front. That's my only requirement. Based on your knowledge, maybe you want at least 2 windows and maybe a door small door and maybe a garage door. That's what you want and that's what you think. But the client's requirement, and they are telling you that this is the most important thing. In front of my house, I just want two glass doors, two big glass doors. So maybe you ask, okay, how many rooms? He tells you no matter how many rooms, even if it's one room, I don't care. But the most important thing to me, it's two glass doors. Now tell me, if you can come up with whatever size of a house, he doesn't really care about it. Let's say you come up with 10 rooms. If that 10 room doesn't have those two glass doors in front, maybe you've got your small windows and a garage door, would the customer be happy? Will the client be happy? The answer is no. So, meaning that the customer or the client came to you with a certain content, predefined content, and that means something to them. It means something to their branding, it means something to their business. To them, if that can happen, it's a big win. That means it's life-changing. And now you having the buzzwords and all what you heard from the internet and social media about responsiveness, you will try to convince the client to some sort of take a different route, of which that what will call some sort of a friction between the two of you, and maybe the customer might be aggravated or might be angry in a way because it looks like you are not going to give them what they want. So in closing, this is what I'm trying to say. The layout, it's not important. The content is important, because in the content, that's where you are able to touch based on these things. With that content, you can get the purpose. With that content, you can get the functionality. With that content, you can craft the best user experience. With that content, you can be more user focused, meaning that the people who are ideally going to use the website or view the website or the app, you can be user focused. With content, you can be client oriented. But without that, if you take the buzzwords and take the responsive design and the adaptive design and the fluid design, which for me, I'm discarding all of that. I'm saying let's focus on the content first approach into design and development. If you are going to create a layout, the layout must be inspired or informed or be some sort of governed by the content, because content is key, content is king. In closing, I think also content is cash, because if the client doesn't give you the content, it means that the client, they didn't request for a quote, they were not interested in you, and they didn't contact you. But as soon as you reach a stage whereby the client gives you the content, it means that you have some sort of established a certain business relationship, meaning that there is an invoice behind whatever that you guys are doing. I'm Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. If you feel like this information is adding a lot of value in terms of your overall understanding as a web designer or a beginner in web development, please do me a favor. This is my channel. We are also now targeting, in this next month, we are targeting 200 more subscribers. At the moment, we are already sitting at what? At 210. Thank you so much for your time. See you on the next one. Remember, we are going to do some more things in the future. Also, I've been asked to create some sort of an in-depth tutorial on Framer. Okay, so I am going to do that. I'm going to sit down and plan and also learn Framer, and then when I'm done with that, then I will do that in-depth course on Framer. Otherwise, thank you so much for supporting me and sharing my content and liking my videos. See you on the next one.